that's fine. Okay, so if you guys don't already know me, my name is Thomas Santerre. I'm running for VP of Communications. And as I'm sure some of you may know, but as of today, I'm currently the only candidate running for this position. So today will be more of a debate of myself. So not really a debate, more of a Q&A session, I guess, for you guys to kind of better know my position on things, and so that you don't have to click that open candidacy button. That'd be nice. So, yeah, so just my position on where I want to see things go in the future, and for this year, if I'm selected for this position. As VP Communications, it's a tough role, and I understand that, and through my time at school, I've always wanted to kind of take an extra step to put something back into the community. And from working at stores this year, I feel like having this experience, kind of just a minor part of it as marketing director, has really brought myself into it. And I'd like to take a further step into it and communicate with the whole student population, rather than just the select few who come to the stores to buy the textbooks, the notepads, and all of that. And moving on from that, something else that I'd like to see is a continuation of Urusha's efforts this year in the advancement of IT development through school. So the plasma screen, we've been seeing that much more active this year, along with the creation of School Digest, the activity of that. I know personally that I use that a lot in first semester to kind of find extracurricular activities, and hopefully many of you have also. So just using those resources and expanding the ways that we can communicate with students is one of my key priorities. The third thing that I'd like to touch on, and Urusha, you had brought this up to me, is that a lot of my areas kind of cross into possibly the student life, and someone else had brought up also that it crosses into VP Academic. I didn't necessarily want to take over some of the responsibilities, rather I want to work closer together with them over the year, because I don't see my role as just an independent one. I'm just going to be sending emails to you, I'm just going to be annoying you with all those dinner dances coming up, all those. I want to actually work with the VP Academic to see how we can communicate better with the faculty, and VP Student Life to see the success on how students are students coming out to more events, are students participating more. Do they feel like we need to have better forms of communication feedback systems for NSHOT? So yeah, that's pretty much the kind of 3 points that I'm really focusing on at the moment, and I'd really love to have your feedback, and just so I can develop more for my platform. So we start. Any questions?
I got.
Oh, you got it.
Here, first and foremost, Rishi will go first on this list. That is the Rishi fight. Very good. So, what new forms of school communication do you have in mind?
Well, one thing I mentioned in on the Facebook event in the summarization of my platform is that I'd like to kind of increase the way that we can communicate with club directors or club leaders, however you want to word it. Because personally, from my involvement in school music this year and in other clubs like University of Toronto Robotics Association and many others, I found that communicating with them it's a very distant thing. We don't talk to NSHOT that often, and I feel like there needs to be a form of communication. So whether that be a website, something involved on school.ca that we can expand upon. Just in general, we need something to bring together where the directors can just automatically place it and I'd be able to get back to them within a day or two and have the topic resolved within at least a week. That's something that I'd really love to implement in the future. So that is one of the new forms that I'd really love to implement. The second is working with the faculty. As we've noticed, they've been putting up more plasma screens throughout the school. So working with the faculty to possibly have some of our own ads be placed on that, in addition to any of their own personal ads that they're going to place on that.
Okay, can you tell me more about this online community space and how the clubs can benefit?
Okay, the online community space was what I was discussing previously, but I think that was basically that's what I was covering.
I'm just reading this.
Yeah.
How would you gather feedback throughout the year? Would you, or how would you avoid sample bias? What would you do with your findings? The census has not worked in the past, so how would you ensure that your feedback system does?
Okay, so I see this as two parts. Both as a feedback, as in like how well our services are doing, So I was having a discussion actually today with Luke, the other of the Canon, and how we can benchmark the success of the Canon with its revamp. And so having its online resources created this year has been a really good thing. We see with the Varsity that is widely spread and shared on Facebook, and those statistics are very easy to see. And something moving forward is first of all to have most students know that the online canon does exist, and that these articles are specifically personalized for engineers, summarizing these events. For example, in the future we might see more articles on the UTSU separation, although there's a touchy subject at the moment, but it's important that all students are informed that this is something they need to know about, and that they can't just passively ignore these. As far as evaluating the NSOC's own success, one of the other forms that I'd like to work with the webmaster, whether it's continue with Brian Toe or whoever is going to be webmaster next year, is the creation of an easy, right on the front page submission, on an anonymous submission form where people can just place any comments they've had. Of course, we're going to get some garbage comments in there, so it will take a bit of a menial task to go through, delete the bad ones, and bring up the good ones with the other executives. And possibly creating a separation system such that they can be directed for a certain area, so academics, student life, and just in general, having that process would be very much better than having in NSOC or anywhere in the faculty having a black box to just put paper suggestions, because this would be more of a 24-hour thing. If something comes up, you can go directly. You don't have to work your way to school. You can just go directly online and put that information.
All right. It seems like a lot of your goals intersect with the portfolio of the VP Student Life. Why did you decide to run for the VP Communications position rather than the VP Student Life position?
As I was mentioning before, some of my goals do intersect with student life and academic. It's because I just want to work much more closely with them and ensure that they are getting the communication out to their directors, their areas, their clubs that they are overseeing, and making sure that they are content with the communication and working with them in the future, because any benefits that they are getting, we can transfer those to any other clubs that are possibly more distant from NSOC, or just ones that they don't really work with NSOC that much. We can send out summaries of these, and hopefully their clubs can strive a bit more.
What is your position regarding use of the engineering communications room by NSOC Publications? Do you plan on continuing to enforce the current policy, or would you enact changes? If you do plan on changing the room's use policies, what specific changes would you like to see?
Okay, so for my personal work with Evan at the Twin, I know that it's a really gracious opportunity that we do have that space, the computers, the chairs and the tables and all that. It's a great opportunity rather than having to use the pit every time in our laptops. So having that it's a really great thing. So it has to be kept strict because there is a lot of valuable equipment in there, and we don't want to have to pick up that room every time there's a meeting. So I do agree with the enforcements that were made this year. Minus a few, I agree with, I believe it was Mauricio that was mentioning that bottled water, and with bottled water is probably what I would allow most. Standard, you can look at the examination center and the rules, they allow water, that's it. And that's personally how I feel about it, but other than that, the rules should be kept essentially the same.
All right, Rishi.
So, as you may know, the Engineering Society is incorporated as a not-for-profit corporation in Ontario. So the VP Communications has kind of a dual role. They have the responsibility to oversee directors, but they're also the secretary of the corporation. They're responsible for giving notice at meetings, maintaining the documents of the corporation, et cetera. And although many of those things are done by the speaker in practice, it's the secretary of the corporation who's legally responsible for them. So can you explain why that role is important and how you will balance that with the other, mostly unrelated aspects of the VP Communications portfolio?
Well, maintaining the legal work it's a very important part of any business, and I know we try to view NSOC rather more as a service rather than a business, but keeping those in order is more of the side tasks, such as the emails that I would have to send out in addition to just any students, those menial tasks, the minutes, things like those. adding that onto the portfolio would, I would have to schedule that in for my time and deal with that as they come. And it's pretty much something I place alongside with the, just the standard tasks that would require not much thought other than making sure they are completed correctly.
Do you have, you're on the list, you're after, Pierre?
What do you forgot my question? We have to add an honor.
Mr. Santerre, your campaign seems to have the momentum of runaway freight train. How did you get to be so popular?
Yeah, in my first year, I didn't take that much. In my first year, I didn't take that much initiative around school. I didn't know many people. I was mostly just at Chestnut, you know, chilling. But in second year, I really wanted to make a difference and be around, so I started doing many more events. And in a week now, I'll be junior band leader, so have many more responsibilities like that. And I just, yeah, getting involved in school has been really a positive influence on my school life, actually, in addition to how I've grown as a coach and stuff.
Do you remember?
Yeah. What do you think is the difference between highlighting items in orange in the digest or sending a separate mass mail for it?
So are you referring to just if the school digest highlighted as really important events such as needing more people to come out to the UTSU meeting, something like that?
Well, sometimes Urusha will put like an event on top of this digest, like really important ones, like I don't know, like it can vary from like orientation GM to Mr. Creek Donuts and the Cat. How do you make the distinction between whether to send a mass mail or when to just highlight anything on there?
Okay. Well, something that is very important and would come up. I know I'm one person that really hates spam, and on our UT mails, I know we get a lot of it of the random events from the faculty being sent to us. And I want to decrease that and just condense that, and I feel like that's why the school digest was created. So, like you were saying, Krispy Kreme sales, yeah, that's great. We don't need to have a mass email send. The fact that it's 2 for $150, great deal. But you know, it can be put in the digest. We can highlight it for 1 week just to increase the CAF's profitability in the future. But events that are very important to students and important to NSOC that we have students come out to them, such as whether it's social events, even like dinner dances and such, and other events like board of director meetings, emergency meetings, things like that. I think it would be just on a case-by-case basis and discussion with many other VPs whether it deserves a mass email or to be put onto the next digest and the following week.
All right, Gabe.
Something I wanted to work on was kind of a coherent way to advertise club events. How would you go about doing that?
Well, there's two things that I've been looking at this year. First one is to, as I was mentioning, increase the visibility of the plasma screens around campus. Second is to try and reorganize the way posters are put around. We look at the pit and around the hallways, and the walls are cluttered with posters and tape and all that stuff. And some departments manage some boards, and we can leave those. But in certain areas, I feel like we need to have dedicated spaces that is organized, and we need to limit the time that these posters are put up, because it's really a nuisance when you see a poster from 2011 for a dinner dance, and it's like, this has no relevance to 2013. We don't want to see this. In addition to all the campaign posters, there should be a space at each time in the year where everybody can go and know that this is a place where they can read up about candidates, either that or they can read up online, but there should still be dedicated space for certain things at certain times of the year.